Hello, y'all. I am back again for another video. And this video is going to be about the narcissist and text messaging, part 18. The Coffee Black, in one of her comments, she wanted to know the update of the meeting. And Coffee Black, I will also be responding to your message so that I can get your phone number so that I can text you the picture that you requested. Okay. So for the picture that you requested, I'm gonna have to text you that confidentially between you and I, without sharing it on the internet. And I may do a video and explain why. So yeah, so just so you're updated for that. So Coffee Black, I hope you listen to this video today or whenever you can. So this video is going to be about the narcissist and text messaging, the meeting update. I got to give y'all the meeting update. I did a live saying this is something I always do. But remember, I do these series, narcissist and text messaging. So remember, I explained to y'all once before that these parts, episodes, or series, whatever you want to call it, it helps me because remember, I also pointed out in another narcissist and text messaging part that when you remove a lot of chaos from your text messaging on a case-by-case basis, your text messaging will become more business savvy. So the meeting that I would have went to on about May 26th, which would have been on a Tuesday, I was supposed to be meeting with corporate, the manager, the assistant manager, regarding these payments that are not being placed on my account. Potentially an embezzlement, y'all. They won't put my payments on my account. They just won't do it no matter what I say. So, meeting update. Narcissist and text messaging part 18. So what I did, I went back through my text message stream and I went back to when the lady from corporate texted me and gave me an incorrect balance. Okay. This was early on before the bill looked like it was this high. So that text was around April, the middle of April 15th. I think it was April 17th. So I went back that far. So what going back into my text messages showed me, thank you so much for the like, y'all. And thank you so much for coming into the live, everyone. Please click a like. Or click a like when I say something that you think can help. So I want to point this out. The meeting that was going to be going on, which would have been May 26th of 2026, which would have been the day after Memorial Day, that meeting was not fully initiated by corporate. The embezzlers or were scheduling the meeting. So when I went into, okay, you got to remember the holiday was the 25th of May. So on that Friday before the 25th, so Monday would have been the 25th, Sunday would have been the 24th, Saturday would have been the 23rd, so the 22nd. So on May 22nd, that's when the potential embezzlers were telling me to come back Tuesday because their office was going to be closed on Monday, was telling me to come back Tuesday to discuss with the corporate lady and the manager and the assistant manager. Now remember, the manager and the assistant manager, they're the ones that won't post my payments to my account. That's acting like they have not received my money and will not show proof that they received my money. So I went back into my text messaging stream because this is narcissist and text messaging part 18, the meeting update. because Coffee Black asked me to make sure I gave her a meeting update. So I went back into my text messaging, and when the balance was like $2,600 and something, I was texting corporate when she was doing her collection, and I was texting her back telling her that my balance was not correct. Corporate told me to continue to work with management. Okay. Now, corporate is dropping the ball on this because you got to remember this happens, y'all. You know, you don't want to, it happens to all race of people. Don't get me wrong. A white person can be done wrong or not protected by corporate office. But you got to think about this. There's a potential embezzlement. You know how dangerous that is? So this corporate lady, she's not protecting myself or herself. So in this particular case, I said I always do this. I would have requested that the assistant manager not be in that meeting. That's something I always do. But when I went back and reviewed my text once again, and I went all the way back to the middle of April, it may have even went back even a little further if I would have searched further, but I at least went back to April 15th or April 17th. This problem has been going on for too long, and corporate does not have my back. And it could be because I'm not white. So you got to understand this. The manager is white. And I'm just a black lady saying that I paid it, but it may not be believed, or corporate just literally may not care. So what I did, I didn't go to the meeting at all. And this is because corporate, the proper protocol would be for corporate to be asking for a meeting between myself and corporate. See, legally, I should have a right to report who is potentially embezzling my monies without being in front of the accused. What if I went to the meeting and the corporate lady says, okay, where's the receipts for the missing monies? And I show all this stuff. And then I'm in a meeting and the manager that's doing the embezzlement and the assistant manager just shot us all and themselves. This is why so many murders in the United States. So what I did a little testing thing, so I didn't show up. And that's because of this. Any legal matter that they would try or attempt to file is not legal. It would be considered fraud. So what I did instead, I thought about this. I said, well, where are my morals? Where are my morals on this? So what I did, I took the time to call the Asian gentleman that was one of the men from an outside source. He was the one that had been calling me to make me aware of what was being said about me and what this company was doing. So morally, I said, you know what? Why don't I contact him first and update him that the problem is not resolved? Now, doing that update, I ended up being qualified for an electronic device, y'all. So I have to attend a Zoom meeting in about a month regarding this really nice electronic device, y'all, that I can actually use here for my channel. Isn't that beautiful? So see how morally, when I put my morality in it, it helped me a lot. Narcissist and text messaging part 18, the meeting update. So that Tuesday meeting that was supposed to be happening May 26th, it also didn't have a time for the meeting. They just said come in the morning. So I didn't go to that one just to kind of test it. Let's see what happens. So I called the corporate lady to see if she would answer. She did not answer. And she sent me a text back to continue to work with these managers. But the managers and the assistant manager, they will not behave as if I've paid what I paid. Total gaslighting. So I've been offered to come to another meeting or to meet with them again. So that's fine. But what I did second, after calling the outside Asian man to report, I got a lawyer. I got me a lawyer, which was an attorney that my private attorney referred me to. So I had to do, because your private attorney, for some type of cases, they have to refer you out. So I was referred out by my private attorney. And it's an attorney that I was referred out to that I've worked with before in the same office. So that's what I did. I got legal representation, y'all, because this is Narcissist and Text Messaging, Part 18, the meeting update. Corporate is not on my side. They're on the manager side. So sometimes what they're doing is having meetings with you to get your evidence so they can use it against you to prepare for a court matter. And so you want to protect that evidence at all costs. And the reason you want to protect that is sometimes when you present certain evidence, it's not admissible in court. You want to make sure that your evidence has full value to it. So let me check the comments here. At Jeff Jackson, Truth or Dare. Nice comment. And let me see. This will be the truth. This is what I would call this, the truth. And then at Big J69C, hello to you too. And then again at Jeff Jackson -QU5YW, Truth or Dare, some of both, but mainly the truth. And then at Cat the Kitty -W5, meow, cute comments. Thank you so much, y'all. So please click a like. So for Narcissist and Text Messaging, Part 18, when you are having potential meetings, you want to really use some logic to think about these meetings, and you have to assess if that meeting is beneficial or a waste of time. I accomplished much, much more not going to the meeting. I attained legal representation. I morally did the right thing by updating the gentleman first, who was just randomly calling me, reporting what was being done to me, trusting that I was telling the truth without even having to see my receipts. An Asian man that was not being racist against me because he's a melanated race as well. So I called him first. I did some networking. I'm going to have a Zoom meeting. I'm going to get an electronic device that I will be able to utilize for my channel. And it's not going to be a cheap electronic device. It's going to be on the level of like a laptop or something like that. Potentially like a laptop or tablet. More like a laptop is what I'm going to be wanting, and that's what is being offered: laptops to tablets. So I got something scheduled out for the future. I talked to a legal assistant. I got a lawyer involved. I continue to reach out a couple of times to that business office. However, this is what came out of that. And this is why you got to be careful going to the big meeting with the corporate person sometimes. You know, Miss Anita Ann Grayson, the 75-year-old that just got unalived. What's going to be happening now is a lot of middle-aged to older people. Middle-aged is you're at least 30 or older. That, to me, that's middle-aged. Okay. So a lot of adults, Black ladies, even some youths, when you enter into businesses to talk about your business affairs and your account, even though you're going in talking just like I'm talking right now, they're going to be pointing and telling you to leave like you're actually being aggressive. That will be happening more and more. So more people will be treated like they're being aggressive when they're not. And they will be doing it to Black girls and ladies because people mimic what they see on the news. And that's exactly what happened to me. One of the Black girls, she's coming from a temp agency. And she was just fine when I talked to her at first. But as things get heated and I stick to what I'm saying, which is the truth, I paid thousands and thousands of dollars that they will not put on my account. And then the girl had the nerves to say from the temp agency, she said, well, you don't look very good right now. Your account doesn't look good, in so many words. I said, of course it doesn't look good, because the thousands and thousands of dollars that I paid you, you won't put on my account. So yeah, it looks bad to you because you just came into this office. But it shouldn't look like that. My account should not look like that. So I went ahead and left. And then the assistant that's robbing or doing the potential embezzlement, she looked at my son and said, you got to look out for that baby right there. Because this is a Black transgender female, which is a biological male. So we got a Black transgender involved that's potentially embezzling money with this white manager, male. And she's looking at my son saying, you got to look out for that baby right there. Well, you can look out for the baby there too, my teenage son, by not robbing my account. But I didn't say that. Basically, what she's doing with my son is like trying to soften him up so he won't get violent with her or attack her, because she's basically abusing his mother. It's financial abuse and abusing him as well. I mean, when you abuse me financially, you're robbing my entire family that lives here. So yeah, narcissist and text messaging part 18, the meeting update. The meeting update. Now, what I am going to do is do a check-in, not a meeting, a check-in to see where their head is at. And a formal meeting are two different things. So I have decided to continue to do check-ins about it, not a formal meeting, because a formal meeting puts you in a room, isolated. You're telling the thief, basically, you're confronting a thief in person and letting them know that they have taken your money, and it can get you killed. It can get you unalived, and it can get you into physical fights. What if a fight break out? So I told y'all in that live, I always do this. You got to go back and watch that live. It's something I always do, but I enhanced what I always do. I modified what I always do. I didn't go at all. And I'm handling it through a legal proceeding. I got a lawyer. I morally did the right thing by the Most High, and I contacted that Asian gentleman, the one that had been telling me for months the reports he had been getting. So I'm on the right side with the Lord. Why would you go meet with your enemy first instead of calling your allies and your supporters? Your supporters, people that believed you paid it without even needing to see a receipt. They just know you telling the truth because this is the type of nature and reputation and character that you build up. Other people that are genuinely kind, looking out for you. It was an excellent networking process as well. I'm going to be on a Zoom in a month. I'm going to get to meet new people. I'm going to get some new devices here to help me with my channel and my legal and business affairs and my business regarding my family and my children that live here. They're trying their best. They're trying their best. So this is the Narcissist and text messaging part 18. So number one, I avoided that meeting because I did not get direct contact from the corporate lady. The meeting was being scheduled through someone else. And yes, I've dealt with corporate offices before, y'all. They can call you back. Okay? If they call you back, that means they're going to investigate the case in a neutral manner and they're not being subjective or biased. In this case, it appears like this corporate lady may be biased towards me just because I'm Black. Your account has your race on it. This account says I'm Black. So already I'm going in into like a war zone with people that don't have my best interests at heart. So not only did I go to the meeting and have to tell the assistant manager, no, I don't want her involved. I didn't go at all. But I am this week going to do a check-in with the manager. And that's because I'm going to document that every time I check in with him to resolve the matter from the money he's embezzling from me and this corporation, I'm going to go in there so he can tell me he's not going to meet with me like he's been doing for months. He's been avoiding me for months, even before I knew that my money was being embezzled. That was one of the first red flags, is when I went in there to check in with him about something. And that meeting was actually scheduled. This was with the white male manager. He would not meet with me. That was a major, major red flag right there. He would not meet with me. This was months and months ago, y'all. This is the Narcissist and text messaging part 18, the meeting update. I like to do videos about business, and I went back in that office Saturday, which was yesterday, and the temporary lady from the temp agency, the Black lady, she said, well, you didn't come back that Tuesday. You're not going to work it out. I said, ma'am, I got legal assistance. I got a lawyer. This is beyond working it out in this office at this point, is what I'm thinking in my mind. I told her, I've taken care of it, ma'am. She's like, well, you got to be proactive. You got to take care of your business. I did. Getting a lawyer first. Get your lawyer first, then go to the meetings. So that's what I did this time. So if I do talk to corporate, I already have the lawyer. So that came first. Reporting the update to the Asian man, that came first. It's not a priority to continue to update or go in meetings with people that are not listening to you. I think that's one of like, it's like a quote or one of the, um, it might be kind of somewhat one of the 48 laws of power, or it's like a Machiavellian quote, or like a Stoic philosophy. It's like one of those, I think Machiavellian philosophy and Stoic philosophy says, stop talking to people that's not listening to you. Stop talking to people that's not listening. And no matter how many times, because I went to corporate, when corporate sent me a text message about this account back in April, I responded and I told her that I don't owe that. She never asked for a receipt. She never asked for evidence. And she never even talked to me on the phone about it. It is a waste of time to keep meeting with people that's stealing, embezzling money, and they have a corporate office over them that doesn't mind if they're doing it to Black girls. So, safety over everything. From a safety perspective, I could be just like Miss Anita Ann Grayson, get unalived in a financial office, at a coffee shop. Any of this could happen to me and I'm not being aggressive. You don't have to be being aggressive to get yourself hurt, y'all. So this is Narcissist and Text Messaging Part 18. So for the meeting update, go back and read those old texts from those business leaders and partners and corporate offices so you can remember history. Then decide if it's in your best interest at that point to attend a meeting. And you may decide at that point that it's not in your best interest. So, someone just left a comment. They said, what? CAYK. You just got to re-listen to the video if you're not understanding. So, I got to charge this device so I can prepare for another live. But this is Narcissist and Text Part 18, the meeting update. I utilized my text messaging to decide to not attend the meeting at all. The result was legal representation, networking, morally reporting. It's best to have a lawyer first before you go into any meeting. So that's what I did. And the update is I'm just going to do check-ins because corporate does not have my back. Corporate believes the white man for me. The white man said, I ain't pay, so it must be true because a white man said it. A transgender Black female, which is biologically a man, she's saying, I ain't paid, so it must be true because she's Black, because she would know a Black woman, even though that's not a Black woman, that's a man. So please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more. This is Narcissist and Text Messaging Part 18, the meeting update. I love you, Coffee Black, and I will be responding to some more of your comments. And thank you so much. Bye. Narcissist and Text Messaging Part 18. This will be on the playlist as well. So review this video. Take notes, y'all. This will help you in your business affairs. These parts help me navigate my business. Narcissist and Text Messaging, this series helped me understand which meeting to go to and which meeting not to go through scrolling back through my text messages that went back to April. I love y'all. Thank you so much for the second like. Bye. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Oh, I came back and glad I came back into it. So Coffee Black says, "Don't worry, love. No picture is undeniable. I see enough narcissistic, sociopathic people online wearing glasses. I'm watching you daily. Love your content. In my opinion, you have the best content." Oh, thank you, Coffee Black. That means a lot for me being a, and I love your content as well, Coffee Black. So let's see. I'm looking at more comments here. What happened was this device powered off. So that was such a blessing, which made it where I didn't end the live. Well, what happened was not that I didn't end it, I ended the live. The live ended itself because the device powered off, right? But then I charged it back up because I don't feel comfortable ending things that way. So Coffee Black says, "I meant to say no picture is needed." Okay, that's the picture. I would have to send it to you through text messaging, if or email or something like that, because I didn't mind sending it to you. I think the picture would have been quite interesting to see, but you know, there's, like you said, there's a lot of photos of people with glasses. It wasn't so much the glasses that revealed the spirit of this man, it was the rest of his face, the flat effect, his mouth, and just knowing what he used to look like, right? So, what happens with um, sociopathic men, narcissistic men, a lot of narcissistic men, you will find later in life as the years move on, they act more like sociopaths, like they almost don't have much of a conscience. So, it was the spirit of his face. The glasses, for me, covering the eyes, wasn't really what stood out to me the most. That's kind of what made the picture more interesting to me. So yeah, so if you don't need it, fine. But if you ever want to see it, just let me know. But I would have to text it to you. Um and that's because, you know, this man hasn't done anything to me personally. He's never threatened my life. He never called me the B word. He's never even raised his voice at me, right? So because he hasn't taken extreme aggression or any aggression upon me at all, I'm not gonna post his picture online. And plus, he's still alive, right? So, you know, this is where you can get into fights with people and y'all start arguing. What if he sees his photo online and then he says, "Well, Irene, what did I ever do to you?" So, you know, it's a difference between posting somebody online and you saying, "Hey, look at this fine." But if I'm sending it out to someone and the man ain't took it that far, which that don't mean he a good man, that would be a picture that his daughter should post, or his daughters, or one of his abuse victims that he's got under the narcissist hours. I talked about that on a live because all of his children have been under the narcissist hours and been under extreme neglect. So I did cut the background sound off, y'all, for right now. So I did cut it off because I moved to a different area of my little makeshift studio. So yeah, that's how that works. But you know, Coffee Black, I trust her, so I didn't mind sending it to her. So Coffee Black, if you ever want to see the photo and I still have it, just let me know. Or if you want to like give me an email address to you, you're always welcome to the photo. I trust you enough to send it to you. But I like her spirit. Like she see enough. She's saying it nice. Coffee Black saying it nice, but what she's saying passive aggressively is she see enough of these motherfucking sociopaths and she's sick of seeing their ass, and in so many words, I'm just going to interpret what Coffee Black is kind of saying in a more way, like I'm going to interpret it. She's saying Learning about them on this channel is enough so she knows who the fuck they are and she don't want to see their asses. And I'm on the same page with her. Fuck these fucking sociopaths that's doing shit to us. He ain't nothing to see. The picture ugly. Who needs to see more ugly photos or ugly? And it's ugly. The picture ugly because the spirit of the fucking man is so fucking ugly. You know, just the way. One thing about empathic people, we put out that smile sometimes, right? And you know, sometimes we could be just sick as a dog. We still smile. Coffee Black. She said, laugh out loud. True. So, yeah, I needed that too. You know, so that message or comment, let me see the chat message. Let me read it again. So, this is about the photo that I was going to text Coffee Black. Don't worry, love. No pictures, undeniable. I see enough narcissistic / sociopath. She's using the correct word. Now I'm going to explain what this means because I've worded it like that on this channel. Narcissistic sociopaths. So I learned this from HD Tutor. He calls some psychopaths narcissistic psychopaths. So what he means when he says that is he separates psychopaths from just a regular psychopath where they don't need much supply. They can just be on their own and manage. But you have narcissistic psychopaths. So they will require more supply and will hunt for more supply. So because HD Tutor, he's a British man, but because he educated me on that, since I'm basically ensnared through birth as being part of the Black community by being Black, I came up with the term narcissistic sociopaths because the average Black person, they weren't really born a psychopath. Some of them are, but it's more rare. They're created to be a sociopath by their upbringing and their environment and just the pathological way that Black people can think that's very toxic. Like, for example, Carmelo Anthony, the Black teenager that murdered that white boy, that white kid. Black people really think that's motherfucking self-defense. They really think that when a Black guy, Carmelo Anthony, and a young white dude that's unarmed, that's just talking shit, the average Black person really believes that Carmelo Anthony's psychopathic ass, his Black ass, taking a whole knife and ramming it through the little boy's chest. Many Black people really think that's fucking self-defense. And it's not. Carmelo Anthony did not have a right to use deadly force. See, you got self-defense laws, and then you got deadly force. Now, I may have a right to defend myself and fuck a person up a little bit, but do I have the right to use deadly force? And I believe this from my soul, that white boy, see Carmelo Anthony, the Black boy, that psychopathic ass 17-year-old Black boy, and you will see all kind of videos from the defense network, the Defender program, self-defense programs, defender associations for defense attorneys. They will talk like it too. They will say it would be just like thinking that Derek Chauvin, the white police officer that kneed out George Floyd, was he defending himself from George Floyd? No, he had no right to kill him. But in the Black race, the pathology, we still struggle to understand. I don't struggle to understand it because I know what aggression is. I know when it's unnecessary. And there was no need for Carmelo Anthony to ram that big old knife through that white boy's chest like that. Yeah, good job, Coffee Black. Coffee Black says, yes, I learned from HG. He's awesome. I fell in love with his voice. Yes, I love his voice too. Oh, Coffee Black. Speaking of the voice, Guess who else liked his voice? And didn't know better. I sent one of HD Tutor videos to my ex aware narcissist. You know, my ex that said, "Goddamn right, I'm a narcissist." The one that bragged about the shit. I had sent him, this was years and years ago. I had sent him a video of HD Tutor, the one where HD Tutor talked about, or players narcissist. Yeah, so HD Tutor has a video, or players narcissist. And so I sent that to my ex-aware narcissist, and my ex-aware narcissist said he liked his voice. Oh my God, how down low, right? I mean, it was so many signs that this man freaking like men. I'm just really starting to think that the average narcissist and sociopath that's male will fuck another man. I mean, he was like, he said, he has a nice voice. But if I sent him a picture of a woman, he would say her, something about her nice, so, because, they'll fuck anything, including animals. So that was when I didn't know no better, right? Never send a narcissist, never send anyone that you think is a narcissist any video about narcissism, because they will make you sick to your stomach. I was like, ugh, you think HD Tutor voice is nice? I said, well, I do too. But it was the way he said it too. He was real creepy. My ex-aware narcissist, that was his way of getting revenge on me. He knew how to get revenge on me. I'll tell you, aware narcissist, he knew to stop by Church's Chicken one day, and I watched him eat some bloody ass chicken, and I could have puked. My ex-aware narcissist had a special motherfucking way of getting back at me. And he was in the military from Chicago. He really could ramp up the revenge on me that you can't get locked up for. I'm so glad he's out of my life. So glad he's out of my life. But it's just a relief. But Coffee Black. It's so funny. Coffee Black. She got all the let's see, she got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of the crying, laughing emojis. Those are cute. Thank you, dear heart. Thank you, Sister Coffee Black. I appreciate you. Yeah, but that's the type of stuff the man did, And that's why right now I just stay by myself. Oh, and this other person that said, let me see, to this CAY, it's at CAYM. I can't see that because it's MNFAIN. CAYM. Let me go get my new magnifying glass, because I got a new magnifying glass that I got. Or let me try to do it this way. Hold on. I'm going to do it this way. Because somebody said, what? Hold on. Let me see if it'll let me look at it better from here. I need to go through some of these videos in here. Yes, so it's CAT. No, that's not. That's Cat the Kitty. Okay, not that one. This one's CAYMNFAIN. So it's at. Hold on. It's at CAYMNFAIN. They said what? So I didn't take that personal. I think they're just whatever I was saying at that point. They're like, what? Because it got WHATTT. So they're saying what? Like, really, that's what happened. So that's how I take that. They're not saying what like in a mean way. That's not what they're saying. And then we got, okay, so thank you so much for the chats and comments. Coffee Black. Let me see. Yeah, so what I did, I didn't go get the magnifying glass. I just got my other device, put it on camera mode, and zoned into it so I could see it better. So I didn't need to go get the magnifying glass. I wear glasses when I'm doing these videos. So yeah. So this is, of course, Narcissist and Text Messaging, part 18. Thank you so much for the 2 likes. I'm glad I came back in here. So if I ever don't mention your comment or chat and the live is ending, that's because I didn't get it. So the reason I was able to get Coffee Black's chats is because when the device powered off and I came back in here and it let me back into this live, her chats that I didn't see came up. So remember that if I ever don't reply it's right around the time that the live is ending, just remember that was not on purpose. And I don't think it's a way for me to see it later. Yeah. So yeah, so and then this other person, let me see, who is this? BIG. Why is it not? Let me see that one. I'm just looking back at these chats. The B. Hold on. Just got to angle it a certain way. Okay, BI. I don't know. And it won't let me screenshot because this device. Y'all got to work on these devices. So Coffee Black, did it make sense about the meeting? Because this is the meeting update too, of how I told you it went and how it ended up being a Narcissist and Text Messaging part 18. Oh, Coffee Black, you said I got the same loving voice as your mother. Oh, that's nice. We call her Queen Bee. Her birthday is also in early November. Oh, you got a Scorpio mother. Okay. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I know other Scorpio ladies. I know a couple of them, and they're from where I'm from too. They were born and raised in St. Louis, and it's a couple of them, and we have similar voices. We sure do. Even some of the guy Scorpios. When I do my videos, especially, I'll tell you this: when even if he's a narcissist, even if a male is a narcissist, if he has like a southern accent, when he preaches, say you got a Scorpio male that has like the preaching spirit, they'll sound similar to a female Scorpio. They sure will. Scorpios have distinct eyes and voices, especially if they have life in them and they're not a sociopath. Now, a male Scorpio that's like a sociopath, he won't have those indicators because those Scorpios will barely talk. They'll be like mutes, right? They'll just kind of look around like them some sneaky motherfuckers, right? Back in the day when I learned astrology about 11 or 12 years old through my grandmother's encyclopedias, yeah, the way I dealt with the meeting was wonderful. I didn't fucking show up. And you know what it did? Let me tell you something. See, because what happens is they get these flying monkeys on their team. So this temp agent, this lady from the temp agent, the black girl, the transgender black woman, then got her on her team. So, and the temp, the black girl that's the temp, she just trying to make sure she come back to that assignment. That's all. it's a business move. When I know people are doing things for the protection of their finances, I don't take it personal. Okay, especially earth signs. Earth signs, I never take it personal. Because I understand where they're looking at things financially. And with the earth sign, when they meeting with you alone, like the black tent, she was pretty much on my side. Even when I came back in, she was on my side. But the thing is, she's working under this company that's doing the embezzlement. Okay, so there's a conflict of interest there. So I was able to go back through my narcissist and text messaging thought process, and I went back through those text messages. So thank you, Coffee Black, for saying the way you dealt with the meeting is wonderful. So, and I talked about this on other videos. I mentioned this here and there. I don't believe in full promises and obligations. Okay. And this is why I say this. I believe in last minute cancellations for the protection of your life and the protection of your finances and your reputation. So it's kind of like this. I agree to meet Henry on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Say hypothetically. I'm not agreeing to meet Henry Wednesday at 1 o'clock. But a lot of people, horrible things happen to them because they treat people like lords. And they got this eerie feeling like I'm going to meet Henry at 1 o'clock. I done told Henry I'm going to meet him. I done told Henry parents I'm going to meet him. I'm going to meet him right up here at the park because we're supposed to start a business, right? But as it gets closer to Wednesday, I feel a eerie feeling in my stomach that I can't explain. And Henry says some weird shit on Tuesday night. But I don't want to break my promise. So I go meet him anyway and get beat to death or kidnapped, right? So I am a believer in cancellations when it's appropriate. Okay. People are not your Lord. So you can schedule anything. If something changes in the dynamics, you can back out of anything. Even if you sign an agreement to meet. If you feel uncomfortable, you feel unsafe, your intuition and your logic, you find out new information before the meeting. So what happened was when I did that video, yeah, exactly, Coffee Black, female intuition is undefeated. Exactly. Especially when you have empathy and you have emotions and you have a decent heart. Okay. I don't have a perfect heart, but it's decent. I wouldn't embezzle somebody money like that and feel like that person needs to pay it back. The money that they've embezzled from me, they want me to pay the shit a second time. Motherfucker, you pay it back. You don't want to embezzle it. Why the fuck am I paying it a second fucking time? This is what these fucking people want me to do. And corporate ain't doing shit about it. So with that being said, I went back through my text messages and I thought about it. I said, this meeting is being scheduled with this corporate lady by the embezzlers. See, this corporate lady, she's texting me. She's texting me. How do I know that she's really from corporate? See, these financial institutions, they get these phones they give them, right? And those texts could be coming from the embezzlers. I don't know what would have happened if I would have showed up Tuesday. I didn't show up Tuesday, and I went back in there Saturday, which was yesterday, and I just checked the temperature of the people. And you can do that. Narcissists do it to us. I just checked the temperature. So the lady from the temp agency in the financial institution, she said, well, you didn't come back that Tuesday. But see, that girl is younger and she's listening to me. She's justifying the fact that my payments are not being put on my account. See, girls like her, that black girl, she don't believe that I'm being robbed, and she's having cognitive dissonance. They're giving her a story, and the story is they're storing my money in the safe. That is illegal, y'all, to take my payment and store it in a safe and then continue to collect on me and tell me I owe it. When you're telling me I owe something, you're supposed to post it on my account and complete the collection. You're not supposed to take people's money and store it in a safe and make their account look like they ain't paid it. So it's a legal matter. And so I'll go back in there and check the temperature, but I already got a lawyer on board, an affordable lawyer on board that will completely handle the case. The intake, the legal assistant part, and full representation. So I'm allowed full representation regarding this embezzlement case. I don't owe what they're saying I owe. Oh my God. And then when that's a whole nother video. They don't follow any timely filing processes. So if they send me any notice about this bill, if I'm supposed to have 20 to 30 days to reply, they send me a certified mail within 5 days. And so they send it late. So say they type it on the 18th of May. They're supposed to have me served or send it by certified mail the 18th or 19th. The respondent is supposed to have 20 to 30 days to reply. They don't give me that neither. They're constantly breaking my statute of limitations for my response time. And that's what I told them Saturday when I went in there. At some point, I'm going to let you hear some of the recordings, because every time I go in there, I use fair use. I use my federal fair use rights, where under federal fair use, I have a right to a one-way recording responsibility. So as long as I'm okay with myself being recorded and I'm in the conversation, because I have a YouTube channel under federal fair use and federal law, I'm covered under one-way recording, which means I don't have to get permission from the other party. Which actually means if I go back into some of my lives, I had one person complain about one of my phone chronicles that he was in. I actually could release that to the public if I wanted to, because I'm covered under fair use for one-way recording. All I need is to have my own permission under federal law, because I'm a content creator. I can record and upload anything I want as long as I'm in the conversation. Now, if I'm not in the conversation, it's a little different. But as long as I'm interacting in the conversation and I'm recording and the other person don't know about it, I don't have to notify the other person that they're being recorded under federal law. I don't have to do it. I have to comply, and I'm granted more privileges under federal law because I'm a content creator. And it may work like this for other situations. I think y'all might could do it too. Because when you look up the federal rules, it doesn't just say you have to be a content creator. It doesn't specifically say that. But I know for sure as a content creator on YouTube, I'm covered under that federal law, because YouTube content creators were covered under the Fair Use Act, okay, which is part of the federal law for recording, content creation, and all of the above, and etc. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so I just didn't do the meeting, and I found that they got really agitated with me. And that's how you lose lawsuits. See, this, I could end up having a lawsuit If you go to too many of these meetings with the enemies, you fucking up your lawsuit. See, I'm documenting this case really well. They don't have a right to rob me and keep collecting. That's criminal, y'all. And that's another step that I need to take that I have not taken yet. Is calling the police. I have not done that yet, but it seems like it's appropriate. AI says do it, but I just gave it a little time. I sit on it for a minute and sleep on it. Give it some thought. Give it a second thought. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So this is Narcissist and text messaging, part 18, the meeting update. And Coffee Black, I'm glad that you came in here for the meeting update. And so basically, I just enhanced something I always do. So instead of going in there and saying, you know, I don't want to meet with her, I didn't meet with none of the enemies. This corporate lady, that if that's really her, and she texts me back April 15th, April 17th, it was like April 17th, she should have been called me by now. But she doesn't have no regard for me, because this is how these companies get sued when they believe in the white man. The white man said I didn't pay, and I'm black, so the white man must be right, right? You know, I was at one of these city halls on the West Coast one time, right? And I'll never forget this. This black lady, she went in through security, and whatever her issue was, the city halls right by the police department, they're all kind of intertwined, right? The municipal court, the city hall, the police department, they're all kind of lined up in the same section, right? I was in the court that day in the city hall part or whatever. I was in there checking in, and this black lady, she was an old school black lady, pretty chocolate complexion, the color of a Hershey chocolate bar, darker. And so whatever her issue was, a white lady had lied on her. So she said this black lady said this chocolate lady said this in front of everybody, and I'll never forget it. It rings through my ear right now. She said, oh, well, since a white lady said it, it must be true, right? That's why it's true, because a white lady said it. And it reminded me, all you can do is go back through history. I instantly went back through history in my mind, and I thought about how Emmett Till was lied on. Even with the, what is it? The Rosemary tragedy, or what do you call it? Rose Massacre? Let me see if I can look it up. What is it? Rose Hill or Rosemary? The beautiful black neighborhood. It had some white people there too, but the white people that lived there were very prominent as well as the black people. Let me see. They call it a massacre. The Rosewood Massacre. Yeah, the Rosewood Massacre. Yep. Rosewood is what it is. What year did that happen in? They got the survivors, because I wanted to create a playlist about that. They got white and black people speaking that survived it. The Rosewood Massacre, how a racist mob destroyed a Florida town.
We know every family. Come on, guys.
That's a U-Haul commercial, y'all. Hold on one second. I'm getting to it.
We can store it.
Excited about the new house?
Or ship it.
Who's going to get the biggest room?
How and when you want it.
You are.
Reserve today at uhaul.com.
They came on the first day of January, and they did not stop burning. And
so hold on. This is the Rosewood Massacre, y'all. She said it came on the first day of January and did not stop.
They came on the first day of January and they did not stop burning and shooting and hanging and lynching until January the 7th.
It's a story that's rarely talked about, but it needs to be told.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it went on for that many days. Hold on.
They came on the first day.
This is the Rosewood Massacre. Okay, I didn't realize they were there. I thought it was kind of like they swooped through and swooped out. So it was a racist mob destroyed a small Florida town. And it was about a lie. Yeah, it was about a lie. It was a white lady that lied. And so, and white ladies, let me tell you this, they don't just make up lies, they support other lies. So, like this lady with corporate, I think she's white. She's going to support this white man's evil. Never forget this. You know, people want to look at slavery like it was just a white man fault, right? But as I went through history, imagine this. You got a white man, because remember, he has to show up at the house with all of these, what he called niggers, right? Now, if I was a slave owner's wife, they had wives before they were slave owners, and he came home with what he called 7 or 8 niggers that he just bought. First of all, I would have been scared to fucking death. Because for one, I don't care if they was niggers, hunkies, Mexicans, whatever the hell they are. I don't know these damn people that he bring into the house, right? And I would have been afraid for my life. And remember, not all white men had slaves. Many of them did. But some of them white women said, I don't want those niggers at my house. See, white women in their marriages, from the beginning of time, they had a lot of control. They weren't really like traditional like you think. They wasn't. See, June and Ward Cleaver, that Leave It to Beaver shit, it's just a fucking show. Okay, it's just a show. Now picture this. You got to picture the opposite of June and Ward Cleaver. Because a lot of white women, they marry empathic men. Okay? You got to remember, who's really more empathic is the white male. That's why that motherfucker would cry after he whipped slaves and go back there and cry and jack off. And then he would shoot himself in the fucking head. They don't talk about this enough. How many slave owners committed suicide because of the rapes? He couldn't get the thoughts out of his mind. That was his karma. That's how the Lord punished slave owners, the men. But from my perspective, white men are much more empathic if they're taught right and it's brought out than white women are. All of these murders, Emmett Till, the way he was tortured, Rosewood Massacre. Yeah, I'm just now learning. I didn't realize it went on a damn week. Hold on, let me play it.
Of January, and they did not stop.
So the whole point I'm trying to make is blame those white women for slavery too. We look too much at the white man. The white woman could have said at any point that she didn't want the slaves there, but she wanted them there because her ass was irresponsible and she wanted people to watch her motherfucking kids. So the white woman is the most irresponsible woman in the world because she wanted slaves. So the black slave women and girls could breastfeed her ugly ass. Like in Set It Off, Queen Latifah said, watermelon head ass babies. That's the bottom line. Fair use, y'all. So Coffee Black says, preach. Yeah, I'm just telling the truth. We want to hold white women more accountable for slavery. Yeah, hold them way more accountable. Also, for some of those white slave masters to stay in their marriages, that was a requirement of his mistress because his mistress was his wife. See, now mistress is the side chick, the other woman, but the mistress and master is the original meaning of mistress was the slave master's white wife. That's what a mistress really is. Never call yourself a mistress, even if you with a married man. Oh my God, I ran into this married man yesterday, y'all. I ain't seen him in years, right? He's a insurance broker, him and his wife. Oh my God, and he had been trying to get with me for years, y'all. And we lost contact, and I ran into him yesterday when I was out to eat with Daniel. He remembered when Daniel was a little bitty boy, and he remembered all my boys. This gentleman is so funny, y'all. He's a black married man, and he's still trying to make passes at me. And finally, he comes up with an excuse. He said his wife got female problems and has a sexual issue, y'all, and struggling. He got one of the nicest wives in the world. And then before he left, he said, and he's one of those men, y'all. And I've met these men in like the emergency room. And this is a black man. He plays golf. He does a lot of stuff that traditional white men would do because this is a prominent businessman. And he's always doing the touchy thing, right? So, but this man is a character, right? You know, and I don't, this is the thing. Okay. Personality affects people. So if they're like a funny personality, giggly, and they like touch me on the knee, I don't care, right? I let them do it. Even at the hospital, I've been felt up several times by white men in the emergency room. And you know what it feels like? It feels like these guys are very lonely. It's not even like they're attracted to me physically. You feel like when they touching you, it's not a physical thing. They're just so happy you gave them a damn conversation. Lonely, miserable, married fucking men. Right? And I know his wife ain't having sex with him and claims she got a sexual problem because she's tired of him touching people and coming on the people right damn in front of her. He used to do that at their insurance brokerage, y'all. The ladies would come in and he'd just be all on them, drooling over. I don't know if he drinks. I don't know what the hell is going on with him. But I ran into him yesterday and I haven't seen him in many years. But it was interesting running into him because I'll do a separate video about, actually he was smeared, y'all. And I always kind of knew something wasn't right, but he was smeared by another married couple, which was my children's godparents. The godfather's deceased. And it's a whole big mess. But I knew something wasn't right, right? But I finally got the other side of the story, and it all makes sense. So this married man is kind of interesting because he's much older. I think he's old enough to be my daddy, maybe. But he's one of them freaky ass old black men. He's not a big man, kind of short in stature, but he's a motherfucking freak. And he was telling me, you know, I really liked you because you were intelligent. He was talking about I missed a date with him or something. I'm like, nigga, I ain't missed no date with you. What motherfucking date? But we had went out to eat a couple of times with the kids because we were all involved in this other business doing legal stuff. So I was a part of that affiliation as well. So we ended up hanging out at Applebee's a couple of times because he was in the area. But he has been looking for a girlfriend for years. And I just wouldn't do it. And so he was asking me, he said, I remember, yeah, you were single then. Are you single now and looking for a man? I said, no, I like the benefits of being single. See, that snake shit, The way people husbands be acting, y'all, and I'm talking about these women that be thinking they got good husbands. Now this man, I see how he interact with his wife, right? And he act like he just so in love. I don't want no man like that. That's a snake. Acting like that in my face, but behind my back, he's a whole different demon. So I told the gentleman, I said, no, I'm good. I like the benefits of being single. And what I was saying passive aggressively is I don't have to deal with somebody like you. So, and I don't have to tolerate none of it at all. So let me play this Rosewood video because I didn't realize it went up. Yeah, congratulations, Coffee Black. You know, I know that there's some good marriages out there. I know that it is, but I watch a lot of these videos about getting a boyfriend after like 40, 50, or 60, especially after 50. And it's highly recommended not to. You normally take more losses than gains. These men are looking for hospice wives, and they usually will not have good intentions. I'm not going to say it's not meant to have a relationship when you get middle-aged or older, but in today's world, you have to reevaluate what these people's intentions are. And I just don't see anybody with any good intentions, and I just don't want to sleep with the enemy. I mean, my heart goes out to his wife. She's at home gardening while he's out to eat, coming on to me. Again, he's been doing this for years. I've had several married men like that. And then I see them on photos with their wives. I feel sorry for the wives. And what those type of marriages will do, you know, like for some women, they'll be like, I have such a good husband. Why am I depressed? That's because the spirit of him is around. The spirit of him is around. That's why. That's why you're depressed. So, and I'm going to be talking more about Daniel, y'all. Oh my God, my son Daniel. I'm tired of demons, right? So Friday morning before school, I go downstairs and he's charging his fucking vape in my residence, right? I told y'all I don't want to keep any more kids. No matter what I say. This was Friday morning. I talked to him about it. And what the vape does for Daniel, it takes his smiles away. It has him on edge. It has him talking shit. He's disrespectful. If we're all out and going shopping, he walks way away from me and Isaiah. The vape fucks him up. I told y'all the vape like takes their consciousness from him, right? Makes them act like psychopaths. Another thing, I looked in Daniel's eyes, right? And you know, I got to see a bunch of kids that was on vape. And they all, when you look in their eyes, they look like they're 2 or 5. And they start acting like they're like 5 or 2 again. It's like they're mimicking their childhood. It's like really weird. And it's a highly addictive chemical. And I did the video, I did the live where I talked about the vape. And I just did a live where I talked about the vape. Let me see which live it was. Did you watch that live, Coffee Black, where I mentioned the vape? Let me see. I'm going to go. It's one of my more, I'll tell you exactly which live it was. I'll put it in the description box below. But it's the live. Yeah, you watched that. Yes. So for everybody else, Coffee Black watched it. So thank you. Yeah, I did more updates on the comparison of the wicked because that's what I call this, the comparison of the wicked. And, you know, Daniel, he's had psych evals and mental health evals, and he's not diagnosed as a narcissist. He would be eligible for the substance use disorder diagnosis, and he does have anxiety and adjustment disorder. So I'm considering going back to the policy council. Let me see. What do you call it? the councilman meetings, right, with the city that I live in. And I asked Daniel, I said, you can't come back into this house. I want to know who you're buying it from. He's not of age to buy vape. And so he said he bought it from a smoke shop, and an Asian man sold it to him with the black man working in there. And of course, the Asian man is going to hire the black man so that he can use the black man that works in there to destroy other black males. See, that Asian man can't hire me because I'm going to tell all the motherfucking customers don't buy his shit. Right? So he couldn't give me the job. But Daniel already has heart problems, a heart murmur. He has tachycardia. He had to see a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor, as a preventative measure. And he's just going to destroy his heart and lungs. He already has asthma. And it just does a number on the brain. So the symptoms are, Daniel started smoking it May 17th. Is when I found out again, because he put it in my glass case. But it's just, you're in your mother's house, right? And he charged it in my house, got my house smelling like some drug house lab. And yeah, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So I'm dealing with that issue. Yeah, Asians wouldn't hire us in their restaurants. Yeah, that's very true. They won't. They won't hire us in their restaurants, but they will hire us in their smoke shops sometimes because they want to make that sale. So what I explained to Daniel was this. I said, look, Daniel, you got to stop liking predators, right? So I said, the Asian man knows you're not 21 or older. So what is he doing to you? He's selling to you. He knows you're not with me. If I walked in there with you, he would ask for your ID. And I told Daniel this. I said, when he was in jail, all the money we put on his phone service, all the Ubers we caught to visit him in jail, all the meals we had to buy after we left the jail just to feed ourselves, myself and Isaiah. So, and this is why I'm kind of getting done with the black community, right? Because one thing I do, I give my money to the black community. But, and of course, the white community is going to automatically get my money, right? But I try to put into the black community. But a black man or teenager like Daniel, he doesn't give, because these vapes are expensive. They're like $50, $30, $50 and more. So say minimum $50, because he's getting what you call a top-notch vape. And this top-notch vape, when it goes into the aroma of the air, it makes me sick and nauseated, and it gives me anxiety. And I'm not even smoking it. And I told Daniel, I said, I might have to consider suing your ass. I might file a lawsuit against you for purposely affecting my health. I'm an asthma patient with high blood pressure. And you're constantly, and I have migraines and headaches here and there in that aroma. And it's just sickening. And so Friday, and I told him I want the vapes. I don't know where he's keeping them. My place is over 2,000 square feet. So he could have it anywhere here. I mean, it's so many hiding places to put a vape, right? That I don't know where it's at. But I'm very disappointed that he's not listening, and that it makes him forget things when he vapes, and it's been in his, and he doesn't have to be currently smoking it. It's just when he starts on it, he took a whole paper bag with 2 drinks in it and put it in the refrigerator with the bag still on it, the paper bag still. It was double bag with 2 big drinks in it, lemonade and some other drink, not alcohol beverages, not that. And just not respecting my residents. And my solution to it, I can't watch any more kids that come from this generation. or the generation after. Like Daniel, I would not watch his children. I already told him, if some dumb lady gives you a child, y'all watch your child, y'all could call me, but I do not want the children in my home because the children are going to be the same. I've connected it all, y'all. Anybody that you have children by that did any type of weed or marijuana, it's going to be very rare. And they was addicted and the child's father was kind of like a bum or degenerate. Don't expect much from the child. Actually, I'm very blessed that Daniel became a Christian, at least apologizes for his behavior now. But his apologies are becoming shit because he keep doing it. I just don't understand. I mean, when I lived with my grandmother, I was on the narcissist hours. I was being heavily neglected. But I would not do any drugs in her residence, even if I got on drugs. I would go someplace else and do it. And the reason I would do that is my grandmother was not bringing drugs and alcohol in the residential area when we lived on top of the restaurant. So I just don't understand. The kids now are different. Even though I don't bring drugs and alcohol here or cigarettes or anything to smoke, the kids do not model your behavior in your home like we did back in the day. I would have felt very uncomfortable bringing cigarettes or anything around because my grandmother was a non-smoker. And the liquor that I'm just finding out she had was in this closet in her restaurant. It was in a back closet. It had a table in front of it. It was locked, and she would bring that liquor out in the restaurant in her business every blue moon for certain celebrities that would come in and famous people and other people, lawyers and people in the government and stuff like that came in her restaurant. But my grandmother didn't sell liquor. However, eventually she did have a tobacco license where she had a cigarette machine in there, which that's part of the reason James is dead, because James was subjected to her. That's abuse. That's abuse when a family member brings in a cigarette machine and you can get just cartons and cartons of cigarettes out of there as often as you want, because James smoked Viceroy cigarettes, and that led to his death. So, I watched my grandmother slowly unalive James, and she provided that to James so that he would be in the restaurant more. It's wicked. It's diabolical. And she knew it was making him sick. She did. She just didn't love him enough to care about him. At a minimum, if I had a family member that smoked, do is put the cigarette machine inside the restaurant. But with my grandmother, it was all about the money, anything for the money. Just like I am comfortable calling her a narcissistic sociopath now. I don't care who grandmother she is. That's cruel and diabolical. And I'm going to be doing a video about how I believe that drug abuse, vape, and whatever else people be on when they're smoking is part of satanic worship. We look at satanic worship like you join the satanic occult and you go to their worshipings, and that's what they do with satanic worship when they do like the orgies and they rape the kids, they do all this horrific stuff. I got this video. It's in my playlist. I'll try to find it. It's about this little girl named Teresa. She was victimized by the satanic occult that her grandmother was in. This little beautiful white girl. She was over in the UK, I think. And I'll go find that video and see if I could put it in the description box sometime today. But that's one of the things they would do at the satanic sex parties is drug the kids up. The adults would be drugged up. Some of them were fully sedated, where they were all the way out, and people would just run trains on them and rape them for hours and hours. And this little girl, Teresa, she got pregnant. She was victimized by her grandmother. Her grandmother was selling her to these satanic occult members. So, from my perspective, when someone's using drugs, that's part of satanic worship in a way. They just ain't going and saying, okay, I'm a Satanist, this and that. But I'm starting to view drug abuse as I see how it affects people. So just pray for Daniel and myself. But as I navigate through these issues, and I mean, maybe I would change my mind. I'm pretty close to Daniel. So maybe if he had a child, I would want to be in the child's life. But what I definitely wouldn't want is anybody that had an addiction. If they parent had an addiction, one or more parents, and I'm talking about a smoking, alcohol, meth, crack, cocaine, heroin, if they parent had an addiction, I do not want their children and their offspring living with me, because that's what's happened to me. When I have children with a man or men that have addictions, then I'm stuck with the offspring of the man. And no matter what I teach the child, it still ends up being drug addicted. I've seen this pattern. And so I don't want to be responsible and have any more children living in my house or my residence, especially as I age out, where their parent was addicted to drugs. And I love Daniel. Me and Isaiah, I love all the support that Isaiah offers as a big brother and the kindness. Isaiah's really grown as a big brother, but Daniel's not trying hard enough. Yeah, thank you, Coffee Black. Keep him in your prayers. And you know, Daniel be on this channel. Daniel wants to come on the channel and do his own video. He's very envious of my channel. I got on that because I think he watches me talking about him, so he'll try to improve. But I told him, I said, I'm done with people that act like they don't care about me. I'm telling you who the hell they are, right? So I'm not publicizing their last name and all of that, but yes, Daniel, and I'm gonna point out the good and bad. I don't regret helping Daniel, but these new children, they don't have no regard for other people's environment. And I learned my lesson, and for me to stop drug abuse from going on in my residence, I just have to not bring in more children. It's the truth of the matter. That's how you stop it. You stop watching kids. You stop bringing them in your house. If Daniel has a child one day, I'll say, can I meet y'all at the Cheesecake Factory? Can we go out to eat? I would, if he had a child, I would grandparent that way. But ain't no more baby kids coming up in here smoking no dope. And it affects, when I have drug abusers here, one of the things you can't do, and this is what I'm going to advise you, because I talked in that video about the update to the comparison of the wicked. I think that was part 3 where I talked about the vapes. One of the things you can't do is allow their friends over. So when I know someone has a substance use disorder issue, I don't allow them to bring the friends over, because their friends are drug abusers too. And then you'll have several people getting high in your prayers. So you'll have several people. That's how your house turns into the drug spot. And then it becomes taken. It's sad because Daniel, he's losing out on so many privileges. I can't give him a house key. He can't bring his friends over. Gonna be in prison till he's 26. on the blade selling pussy at 17 or 18. Um, he can't hang around Elijah anymore because Elijah's all gone. And that's the thing. I don't want to waste my time anymore. Invest money. I invest my life in these children, and they don't model me. They don't model my drug-free atmosphere that I'm providing. Actually, they work against me like an enemy, and they try to make it a drug environment. And with these kind of kids, they don't really inherently like you. There's a Daniel doesn't fully like me because I'm not what he is, right? And that's the problem that I found with kids that are addicted to drugs. They have this natural hate for me, and it's a subtle jealousy because, for one, I might outlive this kid, right? Daniel says he doesn't feel like he's going to live very long. So why put him out in the streets if he ain't going to be around much long anyway? He claimed. I don't know. He has pretty good intuition, but I'm going to go get him some further help. So he's going to have to do these substance use disorder classes, and that will be a requirement if he wants to continue to have a home. I feel sorry for these guys because eventually I give them a lot of chances, but at some point I say enough is enough. And let your teenagers hear this, because when Daniel first got on vape years ago, he's smiling again today. He was dancing and stuff last night because he hadn't vaped. But then I think he smoked it this morning right before church. Consider that, right? I mean, he smoked right before church and still went to church. The clean life before and after church. That's why they call them hypocrites. To church as often as some of these dedicated drug addicts, because they're using church as a new addiction, but it don't fully work. And that's because a drug addict needs to learn Buddhism. Okay. Yep, Coffee Black, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find out how to get cameras. I'm so done with this that I want cameras, yeah. I wish I would have had that years ago. And that's one of the suggestions. Thank you so much, Coffee Black, for saying that. Get cameras in your home. If Daniel stays, no disrespect, yeah. And the thing is, he has nowhere to go. Like Elijah out there with Kaylin. I mean, they're gonna be on a road to homelessness for the rest of their life, right? So it's sad, but I cannot have my home turned into a drug spot. Nobody, all it does is it fills the residents with domestic violence, eviction, foreclosures. You're put out a homeowner. You just lose a lot of privileges. You could end up locked up or in jail yourself, fight with their ass. And Daniel knows. I told him if he gets aggressive or violent, I will put him out on the street the same day. So, but what kind of son? He knows that vape makes him that way. I would never. Grandmother was crappy and neglectful and very mean. I would never do anything that would make me go down to her restaurant and cuss her out and go off. Right. So there's no love. And just, I suggest to people, if you got some children that don't have disorders, fine. You lucky. You blessed. I'm blessed to have Daniel and Isaiah and Elijah and all my children. But if I would have knew the information I know now, I wouldn't have had so many children. don't have children by degenerates. And I have to look at that too. I'm like, I look at what Daniel's doing. I mean, he's trying really hard. He's trying to do the church thing. He's trying to work, do an internship. He's trying to do right. He's in school, but he's always going to bring this degenerate nature to his environment because that's what he come from. Oh, so Coffee Black says you're a homeowner. It's if you're a homeowner, homeowners keep digital copies, you're doing the right thing. Yeah. Thank you so much. So you mean for the cameras, Coffee Black? Because I don't own. I rent, but I always include the homeowners because they deal with some of what renters do because they're under these HOAs. And I know people that are under these HOAs. So they get evicted from these homeowner associations and they own. It's a way that the HOAs control the neighborhood now, right? So, back in the day, if you owned your home, you do what the fuck you want to do. If you had 10 meth addicts and they were all your grandkids, you could let them stay. Because, white people would say, this is my motherfucking house. I done had this house since the 1900s. This is my motherfucking house. I can have whoever I want. But then this homeowner allowing these 10 meth addicts to be there, and it could be a situation where it's a black family and they were crack addicts. It destroyed neighborhoods. So now when people sell these homes, they have these homeowner associations over the properties. It's like managing the homeowners. So the homeowners are kind of being managed. So there's some pros and cons to it, but it kind of can protect neighborhoods in a way from being infiltrated by drug dealer houses, smoke houses where people are just using homes to smoke and stuff. It creates a like I said, it's pros and cons, but a lot of elders have been removed for no reason from homeowner associations as well. So I always include that because it's kind of a similar philosophy. Oh yeah, Coffee Black says renting businesses also keep digital proof. It's a sad truth. Hold on, let me finish reading this. Clicking on it now. It's a sad truth. People can't be trusted until verified. Yes. And what I do now, I leave no one in my residence alone. I will leave Isaiah here and there, as needed, but I find that Isaiah is safer when he's here by himself. But what I will not do, and I don't care how Daniel feel about it, I'm not going to leave an erratic vapor that we just waiting on any moment for Daniel little ass to get violent again. I'm not going to leave him here with Isaiah because that puts Isaiah at risk. Remember, we don't protect empaths enough. Isaiah is my empath, so I protect him at all costs. So I will not leave Isaiah here alone, or Daniel, when I'm not at my residence. Thank you, Coffee Black. And there's all these safety protocols that I have to have enforced to make sure that I don't have to come on this channel and say somebody got killed at the house, y'all. So I'm doing everything I can. At one point, before Daniel was incarcerated, the police told him to stay downstairs because he had just went straight crazy. He had vaped his brains out, right? So, but at this point, Daniel's living back upstairs where the bedrooms are at. But the thing is, if Daniel asks to move back downstairs, one of us is always upstairs. But if Daniel asks to move back downstairs, that would be because he wants to use my whole downstairs to smoke all night. So when he was sleeping downstairs, he just smoked. He would even record himself. He videotapes himself. He would have his shirt off and doing the muscle body stuff. And he would be in my family area where I was allowing him to reside, and he was smoking. I couldn't even believe it. And he would record his damn self, and I would find the videos. And he'd be just down there by himself, roaming around like he paying the bills with his shirt off and just smoking all through the downstairs, mainly in the kitchen and the family area. It was real despicable to watch, to see him record it, but at least, see, now there's usually someone downstairs and upstairs. So there's three of us here. So if he's sleeping upstairs, one of us is upstairs, right? And I go so far, we do bunkers, y'all. So I do it just like the penitentiary. Negro, you want to vape all damn day and night? I'm going to sleep in this motherfucker with you like we cellmates. You sleep at the top bunk, I'll sleep at the bottom because I got to supervise you, Negro. You can't just smoke all over this freaking house like this. So there's a lot of little things I'll try to do to enforce, like a camera. Almost like we don't have cameras here as of yet, but I guess right now you could say I'm the closest thing to a camera. Oh yeah, oh my God, Coffee Black. He needs a parrot in his room. Now parrots talk. I bet that parrot would say, he getting high again. He getting high again. He getting high again. You know them damn parrots repeat themselves. Oh my God. Yeah, he needs something. But Coffee Black is funny. But I do know that we try to work with Daniel because he's not around a crowd of people and we see his effort, right? And just say I put him out and I say, well, I'm done with you. You smoke vape. I mean, he would die on the streets. That's why the only way I'm working with him. But as he ages out, I'm working with a girl, and I'm gonna say her name Sheree. I'm not gonna call her fucking what her mama used to call her, Shady. It's spelled Sheree. So I'm gonna call the little girl Sheree. She was like the leader of some of this shit. That's the one that's out there on the blade selling pussy now and selling her body. And her mom goes to the church. I talked to April of last year to move out. So she said this last year, gave her to the end of April. I'm like, where's she gonna go? She ain't got a job. So I didn't really have much understanding for that. But maybe the mom feels like she's just degenerate nature and that's where she's gonna leave. So what the kids do now, because Sheree did this, I'm gonna call her Sheree. She's a little Spanish girl, but she did this when she had her mother's stolen vehicle, parking it in my driveway. This was back in 2022. The little girl would say, Miss Irene, I think you're bipolar. At first, Miss Irene, this is how she talked to me. Miss Irene, I thought you were really nice at first. I'm finding you may be bipolar. I said, look, Shady, because this is what I called her at the time. I said, it doesn't make me bipolar because you're not able to manipulate me, little girl. I said, you are the one that's bipolar. I said, this is why. I said, what is bipolar? That's the switch up, right? I said, I have consistently asked you not to bring that vehicle or any stolen vehicle and park it in my driveway. I have never said, don't park it today and tomorrow you can let it be here. I have been the same way all across the board. Do not come to my residence picking up my children in these stolen vehicles. I do not want my children riding in the car with you because you do not have a license. And she ended up, her and another little girl ended up was the pretty little Korean girl or Cambodian girl. They ended up in a tragic car accident where that little girl almost got died, and she has a voice monitor. She had a hole in her throat. She almost died. And so yeah, it was very sad. But Kalia, yeah, Kalia, I think was her name. And Shady almost got her killed. I'm gonna call her Shay, but she's a very bad girl and very, very bad situation. And I commend Daniel for trying to break some of his relationships with those bad people. He's tried, and that's why I try to work with them. But at the end of the day, I don't know what it's going to take for him to just not vape here. I just think it's inhumane to do that in your mother's house. But Elijah, every 6 months, used to offer me drugs. And I'm not a drug addict, so these kids now are weird. And I know why Elijah would want me to be on drugs, because if I became on drugs, maybe I would let him and Kaylin stay here. Because I would need to be high to do that, right? I think some people that's high would know not to let Elijah and Kaylin stay. But the court stated that Daniel has been victimized by me having an undiagnosed psychopath in the home, and the juvenile courts declared that that was Daniel's problem, and the undiagnosed psychopath would be Elijah. So that's why I have tried to work with Daniel, if that makes sense. And I do believe the court's finding. I believe if there's an undiagnosed psychopath and they are around children and they have access to children and adults, I've been affected by it as well, right? There's been some good effects and some bad effects. So there's been effects that I've had too. So whether it be my son, or if I would have had a man or another relative, it's just something you just got to work on. And people are having all kind of problems with their kids. This is universal. It's almost like nothing to be ashamed about anymore. Be free to talk about it, come up with a solution. And my solution is going to be to truly acknowledge how kids are. Ain't no kid in this generation, because remember, that's why I do the comparison of the wicked. The children of this generation, they are wicked natured. So because of their wicked nature, they don't give a damn if you good natured and you don't smoke. They're gonna get shit in your house if they can. It's the nature of the children and people in this generation. They have no respect or regard. I talked to Daniel. I said, that Asian man that sold you the vape, he's a predator. He's a predator. And so I said, you got to get to the point where you don't like predators. He's a predator. He's selling you the vape. He knows you're not of age. He know you're not with your parent. You alone and vulnerable. And he's going to sell you the dope. Vape is worse than weed, y'all. It's worse than weed. I see guys that, buy a little weed every blue moon from the dispensary, and it don't do what vape does. For one, marijuana, regular marijuana, even though it has that THC and all these weird chemicals they putting in it, I wouldn't suggest you do it all the time. But the marijuana does not have a battery in it, y'all. And I told Daniel, I said, you are smoking a battery. You're inhaling battery acid. That motherfucking vape, you got to charge it. And he's so sensitive. Like, we had to clean the sink out yesterday. So it was some yucky stuff stuck in the sink. I had to clear it out, turn the garbage disposal on. I got behind on some chores a few days. So I got the sink done. So, me and Daniel are sensitive to smells. So he had his hoodie over his face, and I'm like, man, clean it up. If it's something don't smell right, clean it up. But I told Daniel, I said, the same way you acting about a sink that gets a little messy, you should act that way when the Asian man selling you, I think he said it was a Chinese man. I said you should do that way, be the same way when the Chinese man selling you vape. You should put your hoodie over your face, act like you're going to have an asthma attack, and get a headache then. That shit is just as nasty as yucky stuff in a sink. I said, this is the only difference with vape. They put a smell good on it, but that smell good chemical, I said, that shit is going in your bloodstream, damaging your brain. It takes Daniel's smiles away. It messes with his memory. It makes him incapable of keeping a real full-time job. It literally, vape disables Daniel to where he could not take a full-time job. If he had a driver's license, this is real talk, y'all. If Daniel got a driver's license and he was a current vapor, he would unalive himself or someone else on the road, kind of like a drunk driver would. Or, from my perspective, the vape might have caused enough damage where he should never drive. He might be at risk crossing the street sometimes. It fucks his brain up. Like Daniel, he never looks back anymore. Like I always have to say, well, double check. I'm like, man, I'm not no smarter than you. I just looked back for a second and I saw that thing on the floor. I saw this, I saw that. He won't look back. That disables him from working like a warehouse job. And I talked to Daniel about this. I said, you would kill a motherfucker at work. If you worked in a warehouse, you would leave something out in the walkway and somebody would fucking die. Or you would forget to put a safety mechanism in place and somebody would motherfucking lose their life. And don't let them have to drive an 18-wheeler or anything like that. But I think over time, some of that might could be able to heal, but he won't stop vaping. He's finishing himself off. Daniel is aware that vape is fucking with his mind and with his memory, right? And he just gonna keep smoking it. He's at risk of waking up one day and not knowing who the fuck he is. I mean, like complete dementia. And if Daniel grew out and he did live out his years, and later in his years, he developed like a dementia or Alzheimer's, I would contribute it to the vape he did in his younger years. You know, that can happen, y'all. You end up with a dementia or Alzheimer's or being senile earlier than you should because of a substance you did in your younger years. Okay. Sometimes they are now discovering through studies that certain medications that people took a long time can trigger a dementia. You have to be careful taking prescription medications too regularly. You really do. So yeah, so that's the talk. So this would be kind of like the narcissist and text messaging part 18, the meeting update. I will be meeting with the attorney on Tuesday, Coffee Black and everyone. And I'm gonna, before I meet with the attorney, I'm gonna do a check-in at that financial institution. I liked how when I did the check-in on Saturday, they brought up, oh, well, you're not proactive. You didn't come Tuesday. I just wanted to see how it went. I wasn't supposed to be at that meeting. Corporate is not backing me. She's helping the manager that's robbing me. This lady should have been talking to me. I'm telling her I'm paying this bill. Now I got to get an attorney involved. And I'm getting to the point with these white people, y'all. I'm going to start documenting enough to where I can start filing civil lawsuits for harassment, discrimination, and violating my civil rights. I've had several cases where I could have did that, but I don't keep my life. But this time I'm going to if they don't fix this, I'm going to do something with this, right? Because it's just not right. And even when they do fix it, what about the harassment and what you went through? You know, screwing up your account. My account has been screwed up since February of 2026. I'm going into June now with my account totally incorrect. It's just so wrong. So, oh, I was gonna play the Coffee Black. Coffee Black did another Coffee Black did the laughing emoji and this one and a thumbs up for what I said earlier. But yeah, I agree with the parrot thing. Um, I love Daniel, but I'm not a person that's cut out to support a drug house. I'm just not that type of personality. Oh, and he says, when I was saying about the Shay Reed thing or Shady, when she used to say, Miss Irene, I think you bipolar. I said, look, Shady, I'm not bipolar because you can't manipulate me, little girl. I have told you to stop bringing these stolen vehicles, stop coming here to pick up my children without my permission. I said, at no point did one day I say, don't bring the stolen vehicle, and the next day you come and I say, I need a ride in it. That would be bipolar when I send the mixed message. I never gave you any inconsistency. I have been asking you, little girl, to stop bringing these vehicles here. Ultimately, I called the police on her the end of June 2022, and the police came and called Shayree's mother, and that mother, Shayree's mother, came and picked up her vehicle. And that was the day I noticed the mother came and picked up the vehicle, but she did not pick up her little girl, and she left her little girl right outside in the parking lot. Her little girl did cause her to get evicted from a place. That's a consequence that the parent may suffer too when they have a drug addicted child. Now the little girl is out on the blade. Hopefully she recovers from that. I don't want no harm to come to Shayree. And her mother, that R is pronounced as a D. For me, it's Shayre. I'm gonna call her Shayree. Her mother might be just as twisted as the little girl. I'm not gonna call that little girl Shady. Because of what shady means. If you look up the word shady, that means sneaky motherfucker. I'm going to call her how it's spelled, Shayree. It has a R. I talk to the mother. I say, why you call her Shady and this say Shayree? Isn't she Shayree? She said, no, in her culture. I said, whatever. I don't know. She's Shayree here because it's in America. If she want me to pronounce it as a D, she should spell it as a D because I'm American and Shady is Shady, not Shayre. That's Shayree. So that's why. And Shayree is more girly and more feminine. You know, Shady should be more like a nickname to me or something. It's just, I didn't like it. And if I would have had custody of her, I would have called her Shayree. I would say, your name's Shayree. Let's make you sound like a girl again. Maybe you'll straighten up. But the Rosewood thing. Yeah, because I didn't finish playing that Rosewood massacre thing because I had talked about that earlier too. I'm glad I came back into the live. I'm really happy. So the Rosewood Massacre. Fair use, y'all.
When someone fails to pay their property taxes.
When someone fails to pay their property taxes, more commercials.
You can buy that debt from.
They came on the first day of January and they did not stop burning and shooting and hanging and lynching until January the 7th.
It's a story that's rarely talked, but it needs to be told. A dark moment in our state's history. The town of Rosewood was a small, predominantly black community not too far from Gainesville. It was destroyed at the hands of an angry racist mob. All that's left, their descendants who continue to tell their stories.
We were entrepreneurs. We had businesses. We had 3 churches in Rosewood. I mean, and this is in the early 1900s.
Rosewood is a part of Ebony Pickett's family history. She never lived there, but she can tell you all about it through stories handed down through 5 generations.
Everybody's lawns was manicured and there was roses all around, and it was almost like this picture perfect place.
That picture shattered on New Year's Day 1923 when a mob of white men invaded Rosewood, burning homes and churches and shooting people as they fled.
They came on the first day of January and they did not stop burning and shooting and hanging and lynching until January the 7th.
Pickett remembers being a young girl at family reunions and listening to the stories from the mouths of survivors.
Oh, speaking of burning and lynching, y'all, they just did another George Floyd over in Ireland. Yeah, so I created a playlist about it. The playlist is called They Do This in Ireland Too. Yeah, they just did another George Floyd type murder on a black man. Kneed him out. They all got on top of him, put their weight on him. They claim he was a shoplifter or he was stealing from a store. Yep. It's very diabolical and wicked. I couldn't even believe I was watching it. Yep, over in Ireland. But then the people in Ireland are saying they can't believe it. But the slave owners that came to America, they were of Irish descent. So remember, see the slave masters, what they call themselves, slave masters that had us on plantations, or our ancestors on plantations, they were British and Irish and French. Those were the 3 primary European races or ethnicities, if you want to call it that. So the Irish, which would be the people with the red hair, which is what Malcolm X is partially mixed with. Malcolm X is a quarter Irish. And that's why his hair used to get, his hair was kind of red. That's why they called him red, because of his hair color back in the day. Because Malcolm X's mother was biracial. So, because her mother, Malcolm X's mother's mother, was raped by an Irish man. So I don't know why they in Ireland saying they can't believe that there's another George Floyd. That's where the slave masters come from. So some of those Irish men have always been wicked. So, it's not really that much of a disconnect from Ireland and American, because those Irish men came here and became Americanized and they owned black slaves. So it's just all bad. But I brought up this Rosewood issue because this Rosewood massacre began because a white woman lied.
Remembers being a young girl at family reunions and listening to the stories from the mouths of survivors.
When I would see the horror on their face, and then they would begin to wail and cry and, console each other. And it was like so emotional, and it was such a vivid picture, because this wasn't just something I was reading in a book.
1923. The black town of Rosewood was a land of opportunity.
In 1997, Warner Brothers produced a movie about the town's...
And that's why black people were so poor now. That was a whole community in Florida that got taken away. Rich and healthy, and good crops were growing. They owned their homes, just totally the opposite of poverty. And it was even wealthy people. It was some wealthy... there was this one wealthy white homeowner. He had a mansion. He was one of the ones that hid the Rosewood black residents out. He hid some of them out so they wouldn't be lynched, and hid them there till they was able to catch trains to go to, get out of there, because ultimately the black residents had to leave because they didn't have anywhere else to go. Their properties were burned down and their families were killed.
Warner Brothers produced a movie about the town's history, bringing what happened on that tragic day to the big screen. The film, based on accounts at the time of what started the attack, allegations from a white woman in the neighboring community of Sumner that a black man had assaulted her. Pickett disputes that narrative. She says family members told her it was actually a white man who assaulted the white woman. Pickett's relative, Sarah Carey.
Yeah, but the white woman said a black man assaulted her, but who assaulted her was a white man. So when she told the lie that a black man assaulted her, it triggered all these evil white men to come into Rosewood to cause this massacre. And they caused horrific, horrific mayhem on this community.
Known as Aunt Sarah was there.
And Aunt Sarah had been at her home that day, as well as with her granddaughter, Philomena. So both of them witnessed the white man that actually came into their home that she was with.
On Sarah's mob, it was not true, but
Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll put the videos in the description box within the next couple of hours from this live ending. Thank you so much, y'all. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye. Here with the Advanced Insight channel.